Former D.C. officer Michael Fanone revealing tapes he secretly recorded while meeting with House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy after the insurrection at the Capitol. Fanone writes about the tapes in his new memoir, Hold the Line, saying, "As I entered the Capitol, I did what I always did when I went on a risky op. I hit the record button on my iPhone and stuffed it in my pocket." Fanone was one of the officers attacked by Trump supporters during the riot. He was severely beaten. He suffered a heart attack as well as a traumatic brain injury. And we're going to speak to him shortly. First, though, let's get to CNN's Whitney Wild, who is joining us now with this new audio. Tell us about this.
Well, Brianna, we knew that these meetings were happening. There was video of Harry Dunn and Michael Fanone, as well as Gladys Sicknick, on the Capitol that day, but we've never been able to go inside and hear what these lawmakers told these two officers, as well as the mother of an officer who died after that attack. In their own words, Michael Fanone bringing us those lawmakers.
A secretly recorded meeting with House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy shows the lengths two officers protecting the Capitol on January 6th went to try to persuade him to take action against members spreading falsehoods about the attack.
What I found most distressing is the comments made by, unfortunately, as a lifelong Republican myself, coming from Republican lawmakers, specifically people like Andrew Clyde, who have made statements about January 6th, which were, not just shocking, but disgraceful, referring to January 6th as a regular tour day at the Capitol. What I see happening here is I see lawmakers who don't believe that January 6th is politically advantageous to them. Nobody buys it. It's crap. It's crap. It's disgraceful.
I've never heard you say that you disagree with what they said. I don't believe that. I don't say that.
The meeting was legally recorded in June 2021 by then D.C. Metropolitan Police Officer Michael Fanone. Fanone calls on McCarthy to denounce the 21 Republican members who voted against granting congressional gold medals to those who defended the Capitol.
Who needs a break? Let's get some fresh guys up front.
What I've experienced since then has been horrific. It's hell on earth. I am not a political person. I do not enjoy my time here on Capitol Hill. I would much rather be sitting at home with my daughters drinking a cold beer. But instead, I feel an extension of my service on January 6th to be up here righting this wrong.
The meeting was also attended by Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn and Gladys Sicknick, the mother of Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick, who died from multiple strokes after the January 6th attack. McCarthy tells him he wants to see justice served. Fanone then urges McCarthy to take the House Select Committee investigating the Capitol attack seriously.
I'm asking you to agree to taking the special committee seriously, appointing serious people to that committee who will not be obstructionists and who will allow, the investigation to be done. In law enforcement, when we get involved in an investigation that we don't care about, we assign the biggest humps to participate.
If you ever watched me on any of my appointments, I always do that.
Yeah, but you understand.
I would do it 2 ways.
You're an intelligent man, Mr. McCarthy. I'm asking, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
McCarthy did appoint 5 Republicans to the committee. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi rejected 2 of the choices because they objected to the certification of the 2020 election. McCarthy pulled the other 3. Just days after the meeting on July 1st, McCarthy said this.
It would be shocking to me for anybody from a party on the other side to come and want to accept a position, a Democrat from me, and it'd be shocking to me to have a Republican to go to a Speaker Pelosi, of all people, to accept a committee assignment.
In the recording, Fanone reminds McCarthy in the meeting how dangerous this day was for McCarthy and his staff, as seen by surveillance video of his staff fleeing their offices. He also brings up the phone call McCarthy had with then-President Trump urging him to act, a call that other Republican lawmakers said devolved into a shouting match.
The president's statements that day were BS. Saying, you were on the phone with him. While you were on the phone with him, I was getting the shit kicked out of me, almost losing my life. The way that he, saying this is what happens when you steal an election. Go home, I love you. What the is that? That came from the President of the United States.
McCarthy defended Trump at various points in the meeting.
He wasn't watching TV, he wasn't with his family.
He knew what was going on. He knew what was going on. He knew they were fighting for hours and hours and hours. You know, I just, you know, it doesn't make any sense to me.
I guess that's normal. And I don't know, I wasn't there, but I'm just telling you from my phone call, I don't know that he did know that.
Significant moment there. You know, Brianna, it's one thing to, you know, for Mike, you see Mike Fanone on our air a lot, and it's one thing for someone to come out publicly, you know, and voice their opinions. But what Fanone did was he told those people in, you know, in this private meeting to their face how he really felt. He had the nerve to do that, which you don't always see a lot of people do. You know, and he really did it. He took them to task. And at this point, what he has tried to do over the last, you know, 18 months or so is show where people are flip-flopping on what is a really important issue and making it a core value for him to call people out when their narrative is changing and hold them accountable to the truth.
Yeah, trying to right a wrong, as he said in his discussion with Kevin McCarthy. Whitney, thank you so much for taking us through that. We appreciate it. And joining us now is the author of Hold the Line, The Insurrection and One Cop's Battle for America's Soul, which is out in bookstores and online tomorrow. Former D.C. Metropolitan Police Officer and CNN law enforcement analyst Michael Fanone. Mike defended the Capitol during the January 6th attack and paid a huge personal price for doing so. Mike, thank you so much for being with us today. And we're listening to these recordings. You sound a lot on them like you do just on TV or in person. It's certainly the same thing, the same guy. What did you make of the response that you got from Kevin McCarthy in that meeting?
I mean, it wasn't surprising to me. You know, I saw how he had deviated from his original statements immediately after January 6th to seize upon the politics of the moment. I mean, it was ironic in that, you know, he wanted to ensure that January 6th was not politicized, but I mean, in a way, he's politicized January 6th the most. And so, yeah, I mean, it just wasn't surprising, but I'm glad I recorded it. And that's why I recorded it, was because I didn't expect Kevin McCarthy to, number one, tell the truth, number two, recount the conversation accurately, and number three, I wanted to show people how indifferent lawmakers are, not just Republican lawmakers, but all lawmakers, to the actual American people that they are representing.
You know, in that conversation, one of the things that you tell McCarthy is that some of the people that you and your mother know who don't think that what you experienced happened have said that footage from your body-worn camera, which is horrific for anyone who hasn't seen it. I mean, it is horrific. They think it's faked. What do they think? Do they think that you're part of some conspiracy?
Yeah, I mean, they're, you know, unfortunately, you know, rhetoric from these politicians combined with, you know, some of their alt-right or right-wing propaganda, and people believe that stuff. And I mean, there have been a whole slew of conspiracies that have kind of popped up about me. The hardest thing to accept is people that have known me for, you know, in some cases decades, buying into a lot of that crap. You know, the idea that I work for the FBI and that I've been a plant in the Metropolitan Police Department for 2 decades waiting for this moment, or that I was somehow spawned from a petri dish and am the love child of Nancy Pelosi and, you know, God knows who else. But actually, people believe it.
You voted for Trump in 2016, right?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
So, I mean, obviously, this is someone who at one point you supported. Certainly you don't anymore, and I know that you had some issues with him even prior to January 6th. What was it like for you, not just from the general public, but from fellow police officers, including ones that you'd known for so long, after January 6th, after testifying?
I mean, the criticism that came from the law enforcement community hit me the hardest. If you read through the book, I mean, I talk about some criticism that I got pretty early on after one of my first interviews from a detective named Yari Babich, in which he accused me of being an attention seeker, and felt like this was only done in my own self-interest. I wouldn't wish this experience on my worst enemy, and I think for people that know me, there's not much I wouldn't wish on some of my worst enemies. But it's a difficult experience to navigate, putting yourself out there, subjecting yourself to criticism from not only those in your immediate circle, but really from everyone in the world. That's been the hardest part about the process in preparing this book, is knowing that I'm now subjecting myself, my career in law enforcement, and my activities since January 6th to critique by anyone and everyone.